So, we're continuing sa ating pagtuon. So, now we're gonna go to what is praying for the dead is all about. Kung sa maging ni siya. So, we're gonna be defining the topic. So, now, praying for the dead. Nakadungog na bumuha na. Have you heard about it before?
Always.
You know? I think it's a common practice. So maybe not just every November. You know, maong gina sa kasagaran din nga adlaw. You know, what is your understanding in regards with that thing sa pag-ampo alang sa mga patay? You know, a lot of times many people would say nga, you know, mobisita ba ron? I remember one guy nga nag-post sa Facebook na ningon siya na kung maningkamot lang kag sayo o mata, makita di kag pagkaon. Cemetery. Because it's also a time where many relatives would go to the cemetery. Now, a lot of times they would have this pagkaon nga ilangan ihatag, isip halad, or maybe like, you know, hilig siya mukhaon o garlic pepper beef. So, dadaan, ikan sa Jollibee. You know, it's like in memories of those people nga nangamatay na. But are we supposed to only be remembering them? So, kanang nga pangutana, and why do people say that this is important? You know, we have this yearly nga pagbisita. You know, I always remember the time na ko ang lola is mobisita sa Minterio. Even though ang lawas is wala na dito, but you know, it's just she would remember kung asa dapat hilupong ang iyahang ginikanan and then like isunod na lang. But it's not a guarantee na dito yun. Okay, you know, remember ang cemetery, they have their own policy. They don't keep the body for eternity in the cemetery, especially the Catholic cemetery. If you have family members nga nangamatay, not that, you know, nagdahumi nga mga matay inyo ang mga relatives, but you're not allowed to be buried in the Catholic cemetery if dili mo Katoliko. It's already been an accepted idea. So a lot of times, many people would tend to, you know, Katoliko din siya. So, but is that how important it is? Who is supposed to do this? Kinsa may dapat? Is it possible to hire people to pray for you? You know? And also, what will happen if a person does not do this? You know? If pagtulunan di siya nga ipabuhat o ipatuman, kung dili matuman, unsa may mahitabo? That's a very important question. There's a lot of commands in the Bible nga wala gituman sa mga tao. An ending, it did not went well for them. Especially in the time of the Old Testament. There's a lot of times where God says nga, yeah, you do this. Take for an example, Moses himself. God said, speak to the rock. He struck the rock. So that was not correct. And God says, well, you're not allowed to go inside the promised land. So that was a very unfortunate event. He talked about that in the book of Deuteronomy, on how the people made him angry, and that's why he made something wrong. So yeah, is this practice even taught in the Bible? So what is praying for the dead? Well, the initial facts that we're going to be looking at is the teaching praying for the dead is not specifically inside the New Testament Bible. So you'll never find that teaching about praying for the dead. No single verse in the New Testament describes or commands the practice. So with that in mind, you probably already have asked the question, should we have stopped here? You know, and have the consideration? But the thing is, it's been practiced pretty much most of the Filipino people. Like, I myself is guilty of not knowing all the tradition during nga naay mamatay nga tao. Like, when I go into a wake, it always surprises me kung unsa ang buhaton sa mga tao. Because I have no idea what are the traditions are. So, it's a good idea to have known what the traditions is. So, the only scripture that is specifically mentions the practice of praying for the dead is found in a book that is the Jews themselves. Sila may nakadawat the Old Testament. Now, who were collected and guarded the Old Testament? Well, they do not accept that book that talks about prayers for the dead. So, that's already a problem also. And then, no early Christian leaders also mentions the prayers for the dead, especially even the practice itself. Like teaching or gikan lagi sa pagtulunan sa mga apostoles ni Kristo, you can also not find that in the early church. The earliest record of someone even mentions the word purgatory, and that's gonna be Augustine himself, Augustine of Hippo. That's gonna be in the 5th century, which is nearly 400 years human sa pagbiya ni Kristo. And the thing is, he was also not sure. He thought that it was not impossible for some believers might experience some kind of purgatorial fire after death. You know, the purgatory has a lot of relation sa pag-ampo. Ngadto para sa mga patay. Because ngano nag-ampo man ka para sa mga patay? Well, the understanding was they're gonna be in purgatory. Which na also gonna magstorya pa tayo ng purgatorio. So, kana. And, yeah, the earliest practice, the earliest possible teaching can be found in the Second Council of Lyon, which is dated around 1274. And then, it was also mentioned in the Council of Florence. We're going to be talking about all these councils. So, daghan may mga council, especially the Catholic ones have a lot. You got the Council of Trent, which is also a very popular one. Now, there's this one group. This is the Eastern Orthodox. Now, they do not believe in such thing. So, nor has it ever believed that prayers for the dead or the soul get rid of someone in purgatory. Now, you might be confused. Who are these Eastern Orthodox? Well, the Eastern Orthodox Church came out from the split from the Catholic Church in the year 1054. Now, you might really be interested to know that Catholic is a really big church. But did they have division? This is one of the biggest divisions that they have. They have multiple divisions before the 1054. The 1054 is the most one because dako kaayo ang pagkatunga. That's where you get the Eastern Orthodox, and you got the West, which is basically the Vatican. So yeah, that's the biggest division that they ever had. It's called the Roman Catholic Church, while the other side is called the Greek Catholic Church. Yeah, that's the biggest division that they actually have. Now, regarding prayers for the dead, Catholic teaching regarding prayers for the dead is inseparable doctrine of purgatory. Now, if you want to talk about prayers of the dead, dili na siya pwedeng walay labot ang purgatorio because asa man ang imong pag-apo padulong. So, padulong ato sa mga tao nga naa sa purgatorio. Now, the Second Council of Lyon, that is gonna be in 1272 to 1274. The first place that it was possibly first defined. And then, you got the Council of Florence. Now, both these two has naala sila problema. That's why the council was formed to begin with. Now, the Council of Florence and the Council of Lyon, their main goal is to bridge the gap between the Eastern Orthodox Church and the Roman Catholic Church. So, in short, to fix them, mahiusa sila og balik, which it did not happen. Because one of the main issues that they talk about is they talk about purgatory, which most of the Orthodox do not believe. They believe the teaching is way too advanced. And God also did not mention it. So you cannot get to see why the Orthodox were thinking about critically sa kung unsa ang ilang ipangtudlo. And the biggest difference is pretty much ubay-ubay man ang kalainan between the Orthodox, the Eastern Orthodox, and the Catholic. Because the Catholic Church believes in the Pope, while the Eastern Orthodox, they don't believe in the Pope. They have their patriarchs. They do have a Pope, but they have multiple people assigned into it. Their biggest difference is pretty much when they were asked, now especially in the Council of Florence, a very interesting yun kayo. This is the time where the people and the Catholic, the Orthodox Church were being attacked. Now, they asked for help from Vatican, basically, asking for help for military support. Now, one of the things that were mentioned was they need to have this primal papacy, so basically, they need to believe in the Pope, the authority of the Pope. And then they also include the purgatory, which is, a lot of the people where the Council of Florence is a mix of people. They're not necessarily all Catholic. There were a mix of bishops and theologians, and they were supposed to accept the idea that, there's such thing as purgatory. So the people signed it. When they went back to their place, the patriarchs did not accept that what they did. And many of them were put to shame because why did you do such thing? So the division was not really fixed. And then you got the Council of Trent. The Council of Trent redefined what was already been stated in the Council of Florence and was also mentioned in the Council of Lyon. Well, the Council of Trent, this is during the time of the Reformation. So, if you know Martin Luther, John Calvin, these are this time. These are the times where people wanted to drift away from the Catholic Church. The Council of Trent was there to make sure and establish kung unsa ang ilahang mga pagtulunan to combat basically the Protestants. They were having multiple sessions and they talk about the teachings and they invited the Protestant to come, except that the Protestant could not vote, so the Protestant did not came anyway because they could not vote. Why come? So the Council of Trent did not really help that well also, but it's a very popular one because of all the teachings that they have defined and made known to a lot of people. So I can see that that's actually a very good one. So then regarding purgatory. Now, purgatory, the word means, in Latin, it's called purgare. To make clean or to purify. In accordance with the Catholic teaching, is a place or a condition of temporal punishment for those who, departing this life in God's grace, are not entirely free from venial faults and not fully paid to the dissatisfaction due to their transgression. And a lot of times the term will give you a lot of confusion. So, you got purgatory. Anybody knows the word purga? Magpurga og bito. What's the point? The point is to get rid of all those parasites sa imong tiyan. That's pretty much the same way, except dili bitokon ang nadto ha, but the point is they're supposed to be cleansed from impurities. So, mao man ang idea nila. Ang idea is, hinluan ka. Like, you take for an example, mapalit baron ka og prutas, and then ipalit nimo og prutas, a lot of times nganong hugasan pa man nimo kung limpyo siya. So they try to make sure that, the idea is, this is like the final cleansing before you enter heaven. So, purgatorio, a place where you'll be cleansed. Is it gonna be, maayong sitwasyon? Probably not, because you're gonna be cleansed. Probably through fire. A lot of times, mag-isgot sila kayo, but sometimes they don't. So, yeah, the Council of Florence is where the place was defined, and then the Council of Trent, they have this idea that purgatory exists and the soul detained there are helped by the suffrage of the faithful. You know, ang mga gipangbuhat sa mga buhi pa, makatabang sa mga tao nga naa dito sa purgatorio. So that is their belief. And then, the Catholic doctrine of purgatory is supposed to have some die, namatay sa gamay na sala. Now, which were no true repentance, and also the fact that the temporal penalty due to the sin as a time is not wholly paid, wala man natibuong bayad. The proof of the Catholic position, both scripture and tradition, are bound up with the practice of praying for the dead. For why pray for the dead if there is no belief in the power of prayers to afford solace who are exactly excluded in the sight of God? Para nila, ang pag-ampo maghatag daw og kahupayan ngadto sa mga tao nga nag-anto sa purgatorio. And then, mao ni akong pangutana, nagtuo ba ka sa gahom sa pag-ampo? Always the question of pag-ampo. Not really more on the question of if purgatory exists. So there's those two questions are not the same. Do you believe in the power of prayer? Yes. Do you believe in purgatory? So yeah, the Eastern Orthodox or the Orthodox, the branch of the Catholic, does not now nor has ever believed and accepted the teachings of purgatory. How was that even possible? So during the split, when they were still one, they don't practice those things. It was a very interesting thing. Now, the Orthodox Church did not believe in purgatory or a place of purging, that is the intermediate state after the death of the soul who are saved, whose have not received temporal punishment for this sin, and are purified and all tamed from preparatory in entering heaven, where the souls is perfect and fit to see God. Now, also the Orthodox does not believe in indulgence as a remission from purgatorial punishment. Now, there are already three things that were mentioned. You got prayers for the dead, you got purgatory, and then you got indulgence. Anybody has an idea what indulgence is? Yeah, indulgence. So, yeah, indulgence. Now, indulgence has to do with things that you do. There are mainly three ways. I check if I remember it correctly. One is through penance, or gitawag na to penitensya, or maybe like imuhang pagpuasa, fasting. That's also one way for indulgence. Almsgiving, maghatag og hinabang ngadto sa simbahan, that is also count as one that was used back in the time of the Catholic times also. And then you got the prayers, pag-ampo. Now, in hopes that you might be out in purgatory. Now, but both purgatory and indulgence are intercorrelated theory. The biggest issue is it's not witnessed in the Bible, nor even in the ancient church, where they were enforced and applied and brought pretty much all evil practices. Why? Because one of the people in the church even used indulgence as a way to fund the church. Now, the Pope see that, dili man siya, wala po nauyon ng Pope din sa iyang gibuhat, but still, the idea of purgatory and the idea of indulgence brought to a lot of bad things, where people took advantage with their position and using indulgence as a way to gain something out from the people. So, it's a very interesting thing. So, if the Almighty God, in His merciful loving kindness, changes the dreadful situation of the sinner, it is unknown even to the Church of Christ. The Church lived for 1,500 years without such curing. Just think about that. 1,400 years later, that's the only time they come up with the idea of purgatory. And the idea of, your prayers are going to be helping those people who are trapped there. So it's very interesting. Now, do not take for granted, the Bible is always keeps on saying about hell, it always keeps about saying about heaven. Why did the purgatory just exist now? It took 1,400 years before to exist. That's a good question. So, and even the Eastern Orthodox Church, basically from the split from the Catholic Church in 1054, there was not a universal teaching accepted. It was not known. In short, either gimugna ni nila or, they really do have a basis into these things. Now take note, the Eastern Orthodox, they do practice praying for the dead. But they don't believe in purgatory. They believe in remembering the dead. Now they pray for those loved ones who are members of the church. They don't pray for just random people. They even would bake something to commemorate sa namatay nga ilahang hinigugma. So I don't know what is the Catholic trying to do over what the Eastern Orthodox is trying to do, but they practice the same thing. They practice prayers for the dead, but they are not exactly the same due to purgatory. So the Catholic Encyclopedia calls purgatory as a postulate of Christian reasoning. A very maayo nga pangagpas or makiangayo nga pangagpas. Since it is believed that very few are perfectly holy, and that's sometimes kung imo nang basahon, masabtan po di mo because we have a lot of kapakyasan sa ato ang kinabuhi. We're not 100% nga wala nakabuhat og sayo even now. So and at death they enter heaven immediately, and that few people will admit that their loved ones is beyond the pale of grace and mercy. So there must be a third state of purification. So in short, nagpas lang po sila nga ang ato ang mga hinigugma dili magito sila perfecto nga pagkatao. And then nangamatay naman to sila, so unsa man atong buhaton? So you got basically the purgatory as the third state in hopes that they might make it into heaven. And because purgatory is believed to exist, then in the same way, it is believed that living prayers is also there. So, yubanan. Now, the idea of purgatory is also based upon two theory of judgment. So, the first one is the particular judgment, what happens immediately after death and determines the eternal destination. So, if a person dies, their destination is already fixed. But, at the end of time, when Jesus returns, there will come the second or the general judgment. So, there's two judgments. Now, if you are to go to heaven, but have not paid the necessary penance, or wala ka nagpenitensya, wala ka nagpuasa, wala ka naghatag ng tabang, all those things that have to do with indulgence, well, you go to purgatory and stay there until the payment is complete. So, you really get to see, when the Orthodox says that this teaching is complicated, it is very complicated. And they really came up with a very interesting idea. Now, The idea of purgatory teaches that forgiveness does not mean release from punishment. Isn't that exactly opposite to what the Bible actually says? Is the death of Jesus Christ enough sa ato ang kapasayloan? Or, ihatod pa ka dito sa purgatorio before ka maadto sa imong destinasyon? It's a good question. So, even though a sin might be forgiven, the teachings say that temporal punishment is given by God for each sin committed to the purpose of purification. And the length and the severity of this punishment of purification varies on each kind of sin. Take note, dili ka maadto sa purgatorio if dili ka Katoliko. You need to be saved from grace. In short, you're supposed to be saved already to be in there. Like, for example, you are already saved. If you have been baptized in Christ, because remember, the Catholics also believe in baptism. Now, but you're not perfect. You have doing all these wrong things. In short, when you die, you go to purgatory, so that you will be cleansed, and then after that you'll enter heaven. So it's the third state before you go to heaven. So that, angay ka nga makasulod sa gingharian sa Dios. Angay ka nga makasulod ngadto sa langit kay putli ang imuhang pagkatao. But the good question is, but the Catholic does not have any teaching about how long a soul remains in purgatory. And this is the most interesting part. They probably have already completed all the plan except for the part of how long does people has to do this. We always take for an example of, if ako mamatay and then magpaampo ko sa ako ang mga anak. And then, ang ako mga anak, butang na to, wala sila'y anak, wala sila'y mga kailan. Then who's gonna pray for them? Would it be a little bit unfair kung wala'y makaampo para nimo? Is it possible for somebody else, na maampo para nako? Like, maybe I could hire someone that, hey, can you pray for me before ko mamatay or after mamatay? Or maybe you do it in advance. That's also possible. So the Catholic Church teaches that while we may die, our mortal sin forgiven, there can still be many impurities in us, especially venial sins, and temporal punishment due to already, or basically, ipasaylo na. And then we also encounter those two things. We got mortal and venial sin. Do you know what's the difference between mortal and venial sin? Now, mortal, take for an example, ang pagpatay is mas labaw pa kumpara sa pagpamakat. Ang pinaka-common. But remember, mortal sin is not just as easy as that, nakapatay kang tao. Killing someone is a mortal sin. No, not necessarily true. Mortal sin should be a sin nga tinuyuan. It should be that you intentionally unplanned this thing. That's why it's called, like murder, because it's actually tinuyuan na pagpatay. It should not be an accident, or maybe wala kay idea, or maybe you just thought it might be a good idea. So out of ignorance, so that could not be considered as mortal. But anything from that, if you did mortal sin, I'm so sorry, you're not gonna go to purgatory. You're not expected to be there. You're gonna go directly to hell. Because hell is much, much direct compared to purgatory. But the good question is, those two things cannot also be found in the Bible. So, I don't know where those... The Bible only specifically says sin. For the wages of sin is death. Did not say for the wages of killing is death. For the wages of lying is death. It mentions for the wages of sin. Ang sala Ang bayad sa sala, kamatayon. Wala may gipili. So, yeah, temporal punishment will be carried in purgatory unless the sinner pay for while he's still alive through pious acts and of penance. Samtang buhi pa ka. Dili ni siya sa loan sa St. Peter's, guys. Ay, tamo pa ilan. This is things that you need to do before ka mamatay. The St. Peter's, ito na siya. So, it's more of a, dili mahaso lang imo ang mga hinigugmang nga nahabilin. But this is also something else. Now, purgatory is not a place for all souls to be punished temporarily before going to heaven. Why? Because only those souls who are saved already pero wala pa na kumpleto o bayad ang nilahang mga daotang kuha. Napay utang. Exactly. It's the same term. Napay utang. Dili magtanan nabuha. So kana those who are not saved, well, they go to hell directly. Now, saved people who have already paid the debt of the temporal punishment while they are alive does not suffer in purgatory. They automatically go to heaven. So, yeah. Now, people who are in judge going to hell will not get any second chance in purgatory. So, if you did mortal sin, yeah, you're not supposed to be expecting. But the most interesting thing is, pamisahan po nila, not knowing that the person did commit something that is grievous nga sala. Tinuyuan nga sala. Well, because the priest doesn't really ask those things. They just, magpamisa mo, then yeah, that's one of the ways for indulgence too. So yeah, both these teaching evolved over time. Like the 2nd century, there are things started with this inscription in tombs. The inscription is RIP. Now, we have an idea about that. When you go to maybe dira sa Loriga or like kanang magpasilsil, that inscription is always there. Rest in peace. But the good question is this a prayer to get out of purgatory? Can you really say ang namatay is resting in peace if he is in torment in purgatory? So it's kind of like contradicting itself.
Yeah.
So why would you say rest in peace but they're not going to heaven directly? They're still going to be in purgatory. Does the existence of a tomb inscription prove the existence of purgatory? It kind of goes the opposite way. And purgatory is never mentioned in the inscription too. Rest in purgatory. Still, it's not resting actually because it's not the fun way to spend your time. So, no evidence or inscription where prayers of release their dead from purgatory, even during the time when the RIP was a common thing. And then, 2nd to 4th century, a certain Christian writer mentions praying for the dead. But the problem is the truthfulness of the writings cannot be verified in many ways. Sometimes they forge writings. Inumutumo o gibuhat lang just to have an evidence. The same way nga pwede ka magpabuhat og titulo sa ubang tao and then makaangkon ka. But it's still called forgery. Early it supports the later church teaching. Now, in the writings that do mention praying for people, well, specifically reason is given no mention of purgatory. So purgatory was really well defined by the councils themselves. But the absence of the practices in the early churches really has a question, where did it start existing to begin with? And no writing that mentions of kind of prayer connecting such any depths of forgiveness that is owned by the dead person. And no writing of that period that states specifically that there's a place of temporal punishment or purification. Like, you have to take note, this is a time where technology is not advanced. The only advance is the ideas. Like maybe a catapult is more advanced. But it's interesting that people already have a good idea kung unsay mahitabo sa tao human siya mamatay. It's a good question to begin with anyway. You know, are you not concerned that you have no idea where are you going to be going after you die? Or are you going to be, in place of punishment? So, yeah, it's interesting to note that some of the authors quoted the Catholic Church in support of the purgatory or a prayer, and also taught things that Catholic cannot accept. Like, take for an example, Tertullian. He teaches about that marriage is an eternal bond. But the Bible teaches the opposite way. If a man, ang iyahang asawa namatay, then he is free. Gawas nun siya na makaminyo. But I thought that marriage bond was eternal. Now the good question is, if he was wrong with that idea, can he be wrong with the idea of prayers for the dead? A lot of times we take for granted. There's a lot of teachings in the Catholic that is matawag na to og makiangayon. But the good question is, if you find something wrong, is it possible that the rest can also be wrong? So yeah, and then the 5th century you got Augustine of Hippo. He seems to be specially defined the temporal punishment as a teaching. Famous religious leader who defined many popular teachings in the Catholic. And then one of the things that he teaches is the original sin. Now he said that unbaptized babies who died and will go to hell. While his view is initially accepted, it got rejected by somebody else, Thomas Aquinas, who said that no, that's not possible. The Bible also says that ang gingharian sa Diyos ngadto sa mga bata, so it doesn't make also sense. So if Augustine of Hippo can be wrong about that idea, is it possible for him to be wrong also with prayers for the dead or purgatory even? So yeah, on this topic, he said temporal punishment are suffered by some in this life. Did you know that you can actually suffer these things samtang buhi? Or human nga namatay, or you experience both. You experience this temporal punishment while you're still alive, or also you're dead. And then, but all, therefore, the last is the strictest judgment. And then, most of the tradition says that his mother requested that after her death, he prays for her soul. So, yung mama nanghangyo nga, hindi kamatay na ko, ampuin taon ko. So, maybe he thought, maybe purgatory should actually be existing. So, a lot of times these are going to be pangagpas. Now, in the 11th century, you got the Great Split, divided the Eastern and the Western Catholic Church. The Eastern Church, they never believed in purgatory. And the Roman came to believe in purgatory. Now, there was no universal accepted teaching on this topic. In short, this came up after the split. So that's actually a very important one. And then the Roman Council of Florence, well, did not really help. They kind of use the purgatory as leverage for people to help, so it's not gonna help anymore. The Council of Florence, known for its failure, it was never a successful one. They tried to unite the Eastern to the Western, but it just would not work. And it gave preliminary definition for both purgatory and prayers for the dead. And then you got the Council of Trent, who also redefine and give a better explanation from the Council of Florence. So yeah, from the timeline that we have, so you got sa kamatayon ni Jesus, and then nibiya si Jesus, you got ang mga pagtulunan sa iyahang mga apostoles, and then you got the Greek leaders, and then you got the Augustine of Hippo, and then you got the Great Split, then you got the Council of Florence, and then the Council of Trent. And that's like 370 years after nga namatay after nga ni kunsad si Jesus. And then 1,000, and then 1,400. Like, if the church has been consistent in teaching about heaven and hell, why does this teaching just existed 1,400 years later? And also, take note, it doesn't go into the Old Testament too. So, it's very confusing. So, yeah. And they're still having, their current teaching is still the Council of Trent. It's been keep on adding into those tracks. So, the fact that the Orthodox have never believed purgatory means that there was no universal teaching accepted even before nagbulag sila. So, in summary, the Bible message comes from God and always belongs to Him, and therefore must be studied and be followed exactly in its proper context. And we only have the authority to teach what God says and not what we want to say it. And a lot of times, they would come up for these things because they find nga maayo ni siya. But the problem is, the voice of the people is not the voice of God. So, I don't know, the council did try their best, but the council is not God. And then, the teaching of prayer for the dead and purgatory have evolved over centuries. And they teach that sin is not completely forgiven when forgiveness is received. So, that's not really a good thing to be hearing about. And they teach that unless a person does enough acts of penance, they will have to face temporary punishment to get rid of the death of sin in purgatory after they die. And then they teach that prayers and religious acts of the living can speed up the payment that we get out of purgatory. I hope you keep on doing something good para makagawas ko og sayo sa purgatory. I hope that it actually helps also, no? So, the teaching cannot be traced in the time of the Great Split. The teaching cannot be even traced on the time of the New Testament. And then there's our tough question. How do we know how much temporal punishment our relatives have to pay? How do you know? Is there a way to estimate? Paampuan lang ni og mga usa ka tuig. Then makagawas na ni siya. You just have to pray for 1 year. Then your relative will be out in purgatory and they will proceed to heaven. But the good question is, how do you know if he is in purgatory or in heaven? And then, how can we know if and when we have done enough and our relatives has been free from purgatory? Well, just keep on doing it. And then, what guarantee do we have that our relatives are getting the necessary utang, for our pious acts done in their behalf? So, a lot of times we have good questions in regards of these things. They have made a very complicated teaching, except there are lack of answers to this question. So, can we do extra pious acts to build up upon credit for own future temporal punishment? I'll just pay in advance para dili na ko ampuan sa ako ang mga higala or akong mga hinigugma. Sana ako na lang ni advance. Do you know what that sounds? It sounds very horrible actually. Have you heard about the guy who was in the confession booth? Na nagkumpisal siya saying kung unsa ang iyang sala. And then the priest says, well, just do, 5 Hail Mary and it's like, wait, unsa man sa gisani mo? Nangawat na ko na siya saging. Ingon siya nga, okay, you should pray at least 5 Hail Mary and then napo kaamahan na mo. Isa pwede nga napo na lang na o 20 ang isa. Nga naman kay kiwasun pa daw ko niya kawan para mausa og bayad. You kinda get to see the point.
Especially
The point is, it gives to a point where people could do it in advance. In short, it's more of a guarantee na maluwas ka. But that's not how it works. Can you do enough good things to get rid of all the sins that you have? Apart from what we already know, that salvation comes through Christ. I don't know. So yeah, if the teaching of purgatory and prayers for the dead are true, then should we find the answers to these things and to this question in the Bible itself? And do Bible truth evolve or change within time? Did the Bible change? Like the only thing I know that the changes that the Bible have is there are many translations now compared to before. Even in China, there's only like one acceptable translation. Here in the Philippines, oh yeah, we have a lot of translation that we take for granted that we have multiple translations compared to China. So yeah, and going to the timeline, the point of the timeline is how come this teaching just suddenly exists with this number of years? And why is it not practiced here? Or why is it not practiced in between? So yeah, and the idea of venial and mortal sin, does it also exist? It begs to question us that if praying for the dead is not gonna help, but why do we have higher and smaller sin? Is white lie a sin? Is salt a sin? So, since the topic like original sin and purgatory and prayer for the dead involve things that affects all people since the time of Adam and Eve, should we not find topics defining by God taught in the Bible since the beginning of the Old Testament? You will quickly find out that in the next meeting that we're gonna have, we're gonna talk about one specific book that was an additional book in the Old Testament. But why is this practice not in the Old Testament also? So, a lot of times, are these things found in the teachings in the Bible? This pretty much will be our next stop of our journey. So, your assignment is to read section 2A and 2B. That's going to be pages 8 to 13 before the class tomorrow. And dagang salamat, and I hope I see you again tomorrow.